Okay, so today's video is going to be about emotional first aid slash spiritual first aid. Um, as always, you are my mission. Empaths are my mission, and my path is through Christ. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to talk about emotional wounds and healing from them, emotional pain. So the first thing, I'm going to give a couple of tips. Then we're going to talk about what these wounds are. I'm going to talk about addressing kind of current pains, current issues, current hurts, and then kind of how to address those issues that we've kind of suppressed or that we haven't addressed within us. So a couple of tips before. I always try to offer practical tips to help you live in authenticity and love. So tip one, this is kind of a question. Whose job is it to heal your body? Heal your body from a physical pain, right? When you cut yourself, you might of course ask for help, right? If it's a bad wound. But if you cut yourself small, right? Your body heals itself, but you have to take care of the wound. So it's actually our responsibility, no one else's, to heal from these wounds. Now, we might get help for the healing, but it's our responsibility to address the wound. So, tip number one, or two, focus on the wound, not the weapon. If someone has caused you pain, or if you're feeling some sort of emotional pain or distress, don't focus on the assault as much as you need to focus on the wound, right? Because if someone stabs you with a knife, God forbid, right? We're going to have to use this first aid analogy, so it might be a little gruesome. But if someone stabs you with a knife, and of course they're gone because you're no longer in danger, would you be worried about the knife that's far away or the wound that's healed? Right? So focus on the actual emotional pain or hurt, not the weapon, because this is your pain. It's not theirs. This is your journey. It's not theirs if someone's hurt you. They might be gone. They might have passed on, but they're likely not losing any sleep. So it's important that you address this emotional wound. Give yourself time to heal the wounds, because wounds reopen. It's not once you get a cut, you put a bandage over it and it's all done, right? You have to keep cleaning, you have to keep addressing and following the steps, right? Kind of rinse and repeat with these steps that I'm going to provide. Another reminder, you are human and imperfect. So this is a process, just be patient. The goal is freedom and authenticity. The goal is an overall healthy spirit, just like the goal is an overall healthy body. Now, when you're living free and you're authentic, the same things don't hurt you that used to hurt you. The same thing you're not sensitive over that used to be sensitive over. So the goal is living free, contentment, peace. That's the goal. Wounds make our spirit ill. These emotional pains that we haven't addressed affect our spirit in a way that we are empty, we are hurting, we're in pain. So if you have a will to embrace the now and not have to protect these wounds, not run away from connection, these are the steps that you need to do. This is the goal, right? That's work through these issues. So the wounds make our spirit ill, so it's time to address those wounds. So what are the wounds? Wounds are past pains that we've not addressed, or present pains. Hurts, someone has hurt our feelings, or we've disappointed ourselves, or we're in a kind of emotional tornado. They keep us from seeing others and connecting with others. For instance, if my significant other has caused me pain in the past, I might not want to connect with significant others because I haven't healed from that pain or that rejection yet. So I will not have that connection with other people because I haven't healed from the initial pain. Or I might have trust issues, or I might have, issues with, needing to be loved. So those are past pains, those are past wounds that our spirit hasn't healed from that we need to address. Now let's talk about the steps to addressing. So the first step is going to be stopping the bleeding. So if you have a cut, the first step is stopping the bleeding, which for me means calming your emotional spirit. Only you control your thoughts. Only you control your mind. So calming the emotions and addressing the emotions that you are creating. Someone can do something to you, but you create the emotions that you attach to it. So kind of if it's anger, saying that you're angry, and then looking beyond that blood and seeing the wound, which would be the second step. So calming that anger, addressing it, and then kind of centering and saying, okay, this is the emotions I'm creating, so I'm going to kind of slow down the bleeding instead of kind of stopping it, because stopping it kind of feels like willpower, and really it's self-control. It's kind of surrendering and then being at peace, which is different, right? Self-control is a fruit of the spirit. So number 2, after you've stopped the bleeding, you want to clean the wound, right? So you're going to kind of rinse it off, rinse with water. So IDing the wound. What is the actual pain? I am hurt because. I feel pain because. This is what is my issue, right? So if I have abandonment issues, the person who didn't show up to the meeting with me, it hurt my feeling, or the date or whatever, it hurt my feelings because I have a fear of being abandoned, which really is my fear, right? My own pain because of past abandonment. But the person might have just missed the meeting, right? They might have had an emergency, right? But I attached pain for that one. Okay, so cleaning the wound, saying why am I at pain? So the next one, stopping the bleeding, cleaning the wound. The next is maybe you need to use some ointment. You need to have some sort of something to keep you from getting infected again. Keep the infection away, rather. Keep the infection away. So maybe that's forgiveness. Maybe that's saying, okay, well, how can I avoid, not avoid the situation, because you cannot avoid anything, but how can I avoid this hurting me again in a way that is in love, right? So it might be forgiveness, it might be letting go of control, it might be letting go of the worry, but kind of using a calming agent for yourself, whatever it may be. Okay, so number 4 is covering the wound, and I would suggest using God's love. God is a healer. God is peace. So allowing Him to cover you, His love to cover you, to heal that wound. Now, and that was step 5. Now, if you have a wound that is too deep and too severe for you to address, it's time for you to get stitches, and you need to go to a professional. So talk to a counselor, talk to a friend, talk to a therapist, to make sure that you are addressing that wound if it's too deep for you to manage. Now look for signs of infection. So what are signs of infection? These happen when we're not addressing the wound, right? Just like physically, if we get cut, if we cover this and we neglect it and we don't look at the wound, it's going to get infected. So this is things from our past, right? Things that we've not healed from that are still affecting our spirit and burdening our souls, right? It's making us ill. Things from something that someone did from you 12 years ago should not, or ideally will not, be your focus and control you now, right? Living free of those wounds and letting go of those. So when it comes to looking for signs of infection, now we're addressing something that's happened in the past, or something that we haven't addressed, that's a wound that's kind of infecting our spirit. So now let's go with the infection, the old wounds that we haven't healed from. In these, this is kind of gross, but in this case, if you have kind of an infection in your body, you're going to have to get rid of that infected tissue. So it's actually causing the bleeding again, which is going to be very painful for you. Going back to that, sorry, going back to that past pain, and allowing yourself to feel that pain without, allowing yourself to feel the full impact of the emotional pain without numbing, shutting down, avoiding, or suppressing. And this is I got this actually from Your Sixth Sense, when he was actually talking about something else. But I like the idea of the idea is being open. Open that wound, right? Rumi says that's where the light comes from, right? So allowing it to bleed, and then starting with step 1, stopping the bleeding. Step 2, cleaning the wound. Step 3, using some healing agent, giving yourself peace, understanding that you are loved, you are secure, keeping away, the infection, the anger, the anxiety, the stress. Covering the wound with God's love, understanding that you are loved by God and you have agape from me too. If you need to, change the dressing, being patient with yourself. Healing is a step-by-step process. And then get stitches if you need, and check for infection. If the issue is coming up again, that means you haven't healed. Give yourself patience and don't be frustrated, because I get frustrated myself. Daddy issues again? Really? Okay, so understand that those things are part of the healing process. Don't leave those infected wounds. Okay, so a couple of inspirational words. Let's start with Psalms 34:17 through 20. When the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their trouble. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. He keeps all his bones. Not one of them is broken. He will keep your spirit, right? 2 Corinthians, let me not start crying. 2 Corinthians 12:9. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Right? Your strength is in your weakness. Jeremiah 17:14, which is kind of for me, it's a prayer that I give to you, a blessing. For me, this is what I pray. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for you are my praise. I hope this helped. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Like, subscribe. I wish for you love and joy on your journey and peace through the Holy Spirit. Thank you.